Why am I not getting any responses? Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon, Killa them. QM, good afternoon, Killa Kianane. Right? How are you, Killa them, Mama? How are you, Killa Kian? How are you? I'm fine, thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. We are fine.
Thank you. Glad to hear. Yes. Okay. Right. Hope all of you are doing well. Doing good with the lockdown. Okay. All right. All right. How are the lectures going? Yes. Becoming tough. How was it? Lectures and everything? I'm seeing you guys after a really long time. Okay. Right. I think I have 90. Oh, right. 117 students. Okay. We can start. Right. So today, I think we have covered up until to utility. Yes. Utility varakara pigiya satye. Yeah. Cardinal and ordinal utility. Now we are moving on to theory of production. So theory of consumer behavior is done, but it is not actually completed because there's this one point that we will have to talk about. How price consumption curves, okay, price and consumption curves and demand curves, how that is determined. Okay, so we will have to discuss that, and then we are totally done with theory of consumer behavior. Okay, so yeah, I think now this is your first question of the day. This is quite hard, but please try and write an answer for this. Okay, so this is a hard question, of course, but try to give an answer. Okay, explain with the aid of appropriate diagrams and numerical values how the demand curve is derived from the price consumption curve. At least find the meaning of price consumption curve. Okay, I'll give you 10 to 15 10 minutes. Yeah, I'll give you 10 minutes. Try to write an answer for this. This is a hard question, but if you can write your answers, that means you are very smart. Okay, 10 minutes for this question. Start writing. Yes, were you able to write the answers? At least the introduction to price consumption curve? Anybody? Yes, your 10 minutes are over. Anyone who was able to write the answer? Yes, දාලා මොකද උනේ? උත්තරේ ලියන්න පුළුවන්ද? බැරිද? Or is it hard? Do you want me to explain? Not to waste time? Yes? Tell me. Guys? Lamai, what do you see? Can you explain? Are you still writing? Do you want me to wait? Why am I not getting any responses? Lamai, can you hear me? Yes? Then give me a feedback. Comment. Still doing, okay? Right? You need more time? Is that so? Yes or no? Give me your answers. I'll give you another 5 minutes then. Okay? By 3:20, I'm going to start the discussion. Okay? It's a big answer, of course, but I need your answers. Right. That's it. Your time is up now. I'm going to go for the discussion. Yes, demand curve and price consumption curve. What is the link, or what is the how do we interpret this? Okay, so listen carefully, right? I'm not gonna explain it twice or thrice because we don't have much time. So listen very carefully. This is one of the most important lessons that links two different sessions or maybe two different lessons. Okay, how to derive this demand curve, how you are going to derive the demand curve from your utility curves. Okay, this is what we are going to do. We are deriving, or we are drawing the demand curve from the utility curves. හරිද? utility curve එකේ මත අපිට demand curve එක derive කරගන්න පුළුවන්. How are we going to do that? I'm going to explain it now. Right? So listen very carefully. Okay? Here in the very first, we are talking about what is a demand curve, right? Here it says demand curve shows the different quantities. Yeah, what do we do? What do the demand curve shows? Demand curve shows the different quantities of a commodity that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during in a given period of time. Okay, now in the demand curve, what does it show? අපි demand curve එක අඳිනකොට ඒකේ මොනවද පෙන්වන්නේ පුතේ? ඒකේ පෙන්වන්නේ price එකක් තියෙනවා, quantity එකක් තියෙනවා, right? So consumers, the quantities of a commodity that consumers are willing and also able to buy due to various prices, right, in a given period of time. Okay, simply it shows the relationship between the price and the quantity. Now you know that demand curve කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක ඔයා දන්නවා, right? It shows the relationship between demand quantity and the price, right? So in the price consumption curve, ඔන්න මේක තමයි අපි අලුතින් ඉගෙන ගන්න, right? Price consumption curve is a curve which connects points of consumer equilibria as price changes, right? Now in general terms, if I am to say, price consumption curve is a graph that shows how a consumer's consumption choice changes when the price of one good changes. අපේ consumer කෙනෙක් දැන් හිතන්නකෝ, you are a business person and you are analyzing your consumers behavior. Okay, so in this price consumption curves පුතේ, it shows the consumer behavior due to the price changes. When the price changes, how the consumer behavior change, right? So this is what we are getting from what price consumption curve. Okay, so here at last, a demand curve can derive from a price consumption curve by allowing prices of a particular good to vary while income, price or other goods are and preferences are held constant. Okay, now here it says we can derive the demand curve from a price consumption curve while the prices of other particular goods and preferences and income remain constant. දැන් ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ අපි demand curve එක derive කරනකොට පුතේ, while the other factors are constant, the change between the price and the quantity will be shown in the demand curve. So same thing like that, other factors should remain constant, and then price එක වෙනස් වෙනකොට, consumer behavior එක වෙනස් වෙනකොට, quantity වෙනස් වෙනකොට, we can derive this demand curve from the price consumption curve. Okay, now keep this in mind, right? Here we go. This is how we are going to explain, right? Let's assume a consumer is consuming only two goods, namely X and Y, and his income is 200 rupees. හරිද? දැන් පුතේ මේක explain කරනකොට අපිට කියලා තියෙන්නේ numerical values දාන්න කියලා. සමහරක් ඒවා හරියටම rule එකට තියෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහරක් ඒවා හරියට rule එකට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, I'll tell you when and where. Okay, so now let's assume that there are two goods available, right? Consumer is consuming two goods, namely X and Y, and consumer's income is 200 rupees. Okay, now the price of X is 10 and the price of Y is 5 rupees. Okay, then balan, the price of X is 10 and price of Y is 5 rupees. Now if you are to draw the budget line එක කියන්නේ මොකද්ද පුතේ? What do you mean by the budget line? Yes, Anyone who knows, who can give me the definition of a budget line? Yes? Anyone who can give me the definition for the budget line? Nobody? Nobody knows the meaning of a budget line? Yes? What do
It
you mean?
shows the combination of two goods.
Which change?
It shows the possible combination of two goods.
Exactly, exactly. Very good, very good. So, exactly, that is the definition of budget line. If I am to say the budget line is a graph showing all possible combinations of two goods, right? So I told you budget line එක මෙහෙම අඳිනවා නම් ඔයාගේ budget එකත් එක්ක match වෙන්න ඕනේ ඒ budget line එකේ තියෙන හැම value එකක්ම, which shows all possible combinations of two goods for the given income rate. Okay. Right. So, yeah. Now, according to now, if you are to ask, if they have asked you to draw a budget line, nice. Okay, I'll check the answer. If you are to draw a budget line, how are you going to draw? Then y වල උඩම value එක මොකක්ද දෙන්නේ? මේ දැන් දීලා තියෙන data වලට අනුව if you are to draw a budget line, how are you going to draw? මට y වල highest value එකේ dot එක කියන්න බලන්න. If you knows. Yes. 40 exactly. And x වල 20. How come? Yes, exactly. Thank you. How come? කොහොමද ගත්තේ? කොහොමද ගත්තේ? කොහොමද 20 and 40 ගත්තේ?
Income divided by Px and Py.
Exactly. Very good. Okay. So if then හිතන්න පුතේ your income is 200. Okay. Now if you are to take the maximum value of y, what you have to do? You have to make x 0. හරිද? එතකොට x 0 කරලා y වල උපරිම value එක ගන්න නම් you have now it says y is only 5 rupees. 5 rupees into කීයද 200 වෙන්න? Yes. 5 rupees into කීයද 200 වෙන්න? 5 into 40 equals 200. Right? Therefore 40 comes as the highest value of y. Same goes to the x. X වල maximum value එක හොයන්නේ කොහොමද? y පැත්තම 0 කරගන්නවා. Right? එතකොට x වල value එක 10 rupees and then 10 into what? 200. 10 into 20, 200. Right? 10 into 20 is 200. So 20 is the highest value of x. Right? We go. AB is the original budget line here. Now, this is how you are drawing your budget line. Right? Now, if we are to draw the indifference curve, what is the indifference curve? Indifference curve එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා කියන්න බලන්න. Yeah. Indifference curve එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා කියන්න බලන්න දන්න කෙනෙක්. Yeah. What is an indifference curve? We learned in ordinal utility. Ordinal utility. Yes, at least the characteristics of an indifference curve. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Okay. Negative slope. Right. At least the characteristics. Okay. So it says in the indifference curve එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ පුතේ, it's basically the combination of two commodities which yield the same sort of satisfaction, same level of satisfaction, I would say, right? So it's basically the combination of two different goods which yield the same level of satisfaction. Okay, so as for the characteristics, as you have said, convex to the origin, negative slope, can't intersect with each other, and it shows products that gives same satisfaction exactly. And then there's something else. The highest indifference curve gives the higher level of satisfaction. So there are four characteristics, right? And පාඩම් කරපු නැති කට්ටියට Greek වගේ ඇති. හරිද? ඉතින් එහෙම බෑ. Right? You have to study well. Right? So indifference curves කියලා ගත්තම indifference curves පෙන්නන්නේ two what? The combination of two goods which has the same level of satisfaction, right? And then characteristics වලට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් convex to the origin. ඒ කියන්නේ what? අපේ විජේසේකර එවලා තියෙනවා picture එක, convex to the origin and slope is negative and what? Can't intersect with each other. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම cross වෙලා යන්නේ නැහැ, right? It's always මෙහෙම උඩට යනවා. Right? And what? The highest indifference curve shows the highest level of satisfaction. Okay? So if I am to draw the indifference curve over here, I'm taking a random two values. Okay? Here. Now I'm taking this indifference curve, I'm taking a random value, and here we go. E is the equilibrium point where budget line AB is tangent to the U1. Okay, cool. U1 curve, right? So here I'm giving values. Then පුතේ ගණන් හදලා කියන්න එපා මේ 10යි 15යි 200 වෙන්නේ නැහැනේ එහෙම කියලා. I'm just taking numerical values, okay? ඒක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. I'm just giving you or I'm explaining you by taking different values, right? So don't think about the income or income level when you're drawing this. I'm just explaining the theory, okay? So here it says, now point E is the equilibrium point where budget line AB is tangent to U1 curve. Now we have the indifference curve here and it is tangent with the AB curve, which is the budget line, and here are the values. Now randomly it's 10 and 15, right? Now here let's assume that the price of X is falling down to 5. Now කලින් අපි කිව්වා price of X is basically 10 rupees කියලා, right? Then let's assume that price of X is falling down to 5. එතකොට budget line එකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? What do you think? If the price of X is falling down to 5, what will happen to the budget line? What do you think? Yes, price of x පල්ලෙහාට වැටුනොත් එහෙම පහට, what will happen to the budget line? Shift to the right from x side, exactly. It will decrease the yes, shift to the right. එතකොට අලුත් x value එක මොකක්ද කීයද වෙන්නේ? Yes, what is the new x value? Exactly, 40. Now your income is 200 and your x price is falling down to 5. That means අපි y අක්ෂය බිඳුව කරගෙන x පැත්තෙන් වැඩිපුරම යන ගාන බලනවා. So 5 into what? 200. 5 into 40 is 200, right? 5 into 40 is 200. Therefore, here comes the new budget line, right? Yes, exactly. Here comes the new budget line, right? So now, as a result, the budget line shift to AC and indifference curve to U2. Okay, now as a result, budget line is shifting from the x curve and then x point and then what? U2 or the indifference curve also shifting to the right. Okay, so what else? The equilibrium point also shifting to F, right? Hence, the consumption of X increases up to 25 units. Now here, consumption එකත් වැඩි වෙනවා 25 units. And the Y consumption is 15. Okay, now you understand. Since the budget line shifts, the indifference curve also shift and the equilibrium prices also changing, right? So it's 15 and 25 now. Imagine, imaginary thinking. Okay, now here again there's going to be another shift. Suppose the price of x is decreasing further up to 2. Okay, දැන් හිතන්න අර දැන් මුලින්ම පටන් ගත්තේ 10. Now ඊට පස්සේ 5 වුණා. Now it is decreasing up to 2. What will happen? If it is going to be 2, what will happen to the budget line? If the x value is going to be 2, again shifted, what is the new value? Yes, what is your new value? Superb, exactly. Nice. So your new value is going to be 100. How come? How come? We are taking the x values as 0 and your income is 200. So 2 into what? 200. 2 into what? 200. 2 into 100 is 200. 2 into 100 is 200. Therefore, the budget line is shifting again, as you can see. So then, as a result, you are drawing your new budget line as AD and your indifference curve is also shifting like this. So it is U3, right? So the new consumer equilibrium point is going to be G, right? So hence the x increases up to 40. Here ඔන්න මුලින් පටන් ගත්තේ 15 වලින්, දැන් 25, now it's 40, right? and your y values are also increasing as 25, 10, 24. Okay, these are just, I'm taking numerical values. Okay, now we are moving on to deriving the demand curve. How do we derive the demand curve? Okay, so the curve made by connecting these consumer equilibrium points. Okay, here we go. The curve made by connecting these consumer equilibrium points is the price consumption curve. Okay, now if you connect these all equilibrium points like this curve is known to be the what? Price consumption price consumption curve. Okay, so if you link all these equilibrium points, it is known to be as price consumption curve. Okay, so then let's plot this price demand relation on a graph. Now we are going to plot the price demand on a graph. Okay, here. Now I'm getting my demand curve. Okay, demand curve ekata mama prices tika දාගන්න යන්නේ. Right? So now you remember in the very beginning it started from 10. Okay, price එක x වල පටන් ගත්තේ 10 වල. ඊට පස්සේ එක 5 වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ එක 2 වුණා. Right? So I have 10, 5 and 2 here. Here 10, 5 and 2. Right? And then as we spoke of, the quantities also changed, right? Quantity changed according to the price. As now when it comes to here, when the price equals to 10, equilibrium quantity was actually 15. Okay, here when the price equals to 10, the equilibrium quantity was actually 15, right? And when the price equals to 5, the equilibrium quantity was actually 25. Okay, here. And when the price equals to 2, the equilibrium quantity was actually what? Here we go. 40. Right? Equilibrium quantity was 40. Now we join the points. And that is your demand curve. X wala demand curve එක අපි දැන් යන්දා. How? We had the prices, we had the quantities, we are just linking them. Right? So this is how we are deriving the demand curve. Got that? Yes? Easy peasy neda? Anybody? I have one answer here. Okay. All right. Good. Kumar Singha, good, but further elaborations are needed. Therefore, we need a solid explanation like this. Right? Okay. Everyone got this? Do you have any questions before moving on to theory of production? Any questions? Questions? It is open for questions. Seems like no. Okay, everyone got it. Then indifference curve එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? ඒක කොහෙන්ද ආවේ? Budget line එකක් කියන්නේ කොහෙන්ද? ඒක මොකක්ද මේ මන් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. කවදාවත් utility ගණන් හදලා නැත්නම් මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ පුතේ. හරිද? ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා be thorough with the utilities and then the demand curves, then only you can derive the demand curve from the utility curves. Okay, price consumption curve is a new one, and you know what price consumption curve is now. Okay, how to draw that also, right? Good. Now that's it about utility and demand. Now we are moving on to theory of production, right? It is a new lesson, right? So officially it's done, utility and demand it's done. Now we are moving on to what? Theory of production, right? Here we go. The concept of production. Now මං කියන්න කලින් ඔයාලට කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. What do you think? What is the concept of production? Yes? Can I have some definitions? If I am to ask you, explain the concept of production, what would be your answer? Yeah? Anybody? Explain the concept of production. Exactly. Nice. Transforming inputs into outputs. What do you mean by inputs? What is the definition of inputs? Can be taken? What do you mean by inputs? What do you mean by outputs? Okay. Okay. Anything that you know of production? Production කියන වචනේ ඇහුන ගමන් ඔයාලට මොනවද මතක් වෙන්නේ? Yes? Please let me know. Goods and services. Okay. Goods and services. Right. Any resource can use to produce. Okay. Right. දැන් අනිත් ළමයි මේ කිහිප දෙනෙක්ට විතරයි දේවල් මතක් වෙන්නේ. I think I have around more than 100 students and I'm getting only responses from very few set of students. දැන් අනිත් ළමයි නිදිද? මොකද කරන්නේ? Huh? Okay, now we are moving on to the discussion of theory of production, right? Production is an activity. Yes, your answers are very correct. Okay, so production is an activity by which resources are transformed into different and more useful commodities or value added services. Okay, as you can see, production is an activity by which resources are transformed into different and more useful commodity or value added services. Okay, so production is a process. In other words, or in another definition for production is a process of combining various inputs to produce an output for consumption. Okay, now production කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා අහුවම you should be able to tell. Otherwise, how are you going to become a manager or someone. If you don't know how to define production, then how are you going to become a manager? Okay, it's all about you are being, you are doing businesses because it's all about transforming things, right? So it's basically managing inputs, transforming them into outputs or value-added services. Okay, so in other words, is the process of which the inputs are converted into outputs, right? So if I am to ask you, what is the definition of inputs? It is the resources that goes into the process of production. Production එකක් ඇතුළට දාන resources තමයි inputs කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? Outputs are final goods or coming out from the production. Goods and services comes out from the production. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now let's answer some questions. Okay? We are moving on to the questions. Here. Distinguish between short run and long run in the context of production. Can we do this? I'll give you time until 4. Okay, we have 7 minutes. Write your answers. I believe you have already learned about this. Okay, in theory of production, we have different timelines. Yes, let's see. Right. Your time is up. It's 4. Now here, in this slide only we have the perfect definition. Okay. So I have 2 slides, right? In this production lifespan, okay, you have different lifespans in a business, right? So in this lifespan you can segregate these lifespans as short run, long run and very long run. Okay, so in this short run you have at least fixed variables, fixed and variable inputs. For an example, you see now, ඔයාලා මුලින්ම පටන් ගන්න යනකොට business එකක්, right? In the very beginning, you need a place, a building to work. Okay, you need stuff to work. I mean money, okay, and equipments. Okay, so those are fixed ones, right? So fixed inputs are definitely there. And variable inputs. Variable inputs, under variable inputs, it comes as what? Labor. Now, capital is more of fixed inputs and labor is a variable input. So, K and L. So, capital we symbolize it as K and what? Labor as L, right? So, you have both K and L and K is constant, right? So, that means fixed. Right. In long run, we have only variable inputs, no fixed inputs. Now, in the very beginning of your business, you have to put fixed inputs, maybe what? Buildings and equipments and capital, I mean money and everything. But in the long run, you don't. You are not investing those things, but you are investing more labor. Variable inputs are coming in. Right? So that is why it says there are only variable inputs in the long run. In the very long run, it's basically only variable inputs, but the technology is changing. The technology is evolving, right? So this is what it says in a business perspective, right? So now my question was actually distinguish between short run and long run. Here are the definitions. Okay, short run is that time period when a firm cannot change all its inputs. Some are held fixed. Outputs can therefore be increased by changing only variable inputs. Right? So your equation, the functions that are there is basically capital and labor. So capital is constant, therefore there is a bar on top of K. Right? So in the long run, is that time period when the firm can change all its inputs, including fixed inputs. Right? They can change these inputs, including fixed inputs. And in the long run, all inputs are therefore variable inputs. Right? So the function or the mathematically can be represented as this function K and L. No constant or fixed stuff. Only variable inputs. Variable කියලා කියන්නේ වෙනස් වෙනවා. Right? Fixed කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ විදිහටම තියෙනවා. Right? Okay. So if you have mentioned those two definitions, that means you have my mark or the vote. Okay. So now we are moving on to the calculations. Okay. Now this is your calculation, right? Take good 10 to 15 minutes, read this question thoroughly and find answers. Okay, I need answers for both these two questions. Okay, I'll give you maybe 10 to 15 minutes so you can give a nice definition, right? Not a definition, actually a calculation. Putala, give me the other answer as well. There are two questions available, right? If you know, you can provide the answers to the other question as well. Geetanjali, average cost is not correct. Yes, others? Make it faster. It's fine. Saranjali, Pute, your answer is correct, absolutely correct. When you are providing extra, or when you are putting extra zeros, be very much careful, okay? Where to put that dot. නැත්නම් එකක් හරි එහෙට පැනලා මේවා වුණොත් එහෙම you have the risk. Okay, it's better if you don't put those extra cents. But then again, if you are putting it, be very careful. Okay. Gunaratna, for some reason I can't view your image, so I can't give you a heart. Yes. Anakan. Right. Now some people have written only the values. Okay, cost the tail, the pull the kila poda bang. Rupees the cents the dollars the kila. Okay. I didn't notice it. Now only I'm noticing it. Yes, others, are you done? You understand the question? Any doubts and any problems? I have a smart set of people. Very good, huh? Okay, time is running. Yes, I'm giving you plenty of time. Jayalat, marginal production. Check your values again. Marginal production එකේ values ටික චුට්ටක් check කරලා බලන්න. Yeah. Okay. Now we will have to discuss the question. Okay. So your question is basically අර ලොකුවට මුලින් දීලා තියෙන ටිකක් බය කරන්න. එහෙනම් ඒක දැක්ක ගමන් බය වෙන්න එපා. Right? මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නාවම බය වෙන්න එපා. Right? Okay. So the ABC shop specialized in auto repairs rents a building. Okay. In the short run, it can vary its outputs, the number of cars fixed, only by varying the number of mechanics it employs. Okay. Each employee is paid a fixed wage. Okay. Over the years, Peter, the owner of ABC, has tried hiring different number of workers. Okay, the data about the average productivity of each worker, also known as the average product of labor for each number of workers, are given in the box. Okay, so here number of workers 0 to 6. Sorry about it. Number of workers 0 to 6 and average production. Okay, so here if the number of workers are 0, the average production is also 0. Now, one person can averagely make 5 cars. 2 people 7, 3 people 10, 4 people 11, 5 people again 10, 6 people again 9. Why can you see a reduction here? Right? වැඩිපුර කට්ටිය ඉන්නකොට වැඩිපුර කතා කරනවානේ. ඉතින් එතකොට වැඩ කරන්නේ. Okay? Right. So calculate. The very first question is basically calculate the total production of labor. Right? And the marginal production of labor. How are we going to calculate the total production of labor? Here we go. Here are the equations. So TP equals AP into L. Okay, average production into L is basically the total production. That is how we are getting the total production. From that equation, we can get the values. So 0 into 0 is 0. 1 into 5 is 5, 2 into 7 is 14, and 3 into 10 is 30, likewise. Okay? How are we going to get the marginal production? Delta TP into divided by, not O, delta TP divided by delta L. So that is your equation for marginal production. Right? Delta කියලා කියන්නේ වෙනස. Right? So the වෙනස or the delta value. Okay. 0 එකයි අතර තියෙන වෙනස එකයි. Here you can see. I'll show you here. මෙන්න මේ දෙකේ අතර වෙනස. මේ දෙකේ අතර වෙනස මේ දෙකේ අතර වෙනස එකයි. Likewise, right? So that is how you are taking the delta values. And delta TP මෙන්න මේ දෙක අතර තියෙන value වෙනස. And මේ දෙක අතර තියෙන වෙනස. Right? Likewise. So that is how you are getting your marginal values. And ta-da, here are the marginal values. Okay? So check the marginal values. Some people have gotten some places wrong. So this is how you're going to take it. Now, your next question is currently ABC employs 3 workers. Okay. Currently there are 3 workers in ABC company. Okay. And whom paid 200 per day. 3 workers, 200 fixed wage. Right? Determine the average labor cost of repairing a car. One car එකක් repair කරන්න යන labor cost එක මොකක්ද කියලා තමයි අහන්නේ. Right? So how are we going to determine that? Here. This is how we are going to determine. 3 workers cost the firm 3 times. Okay? So they are paying 200 rupees. So 300 into 200 is basically 600. Right? To determine the average cost, we need to divide the total cost by the number of cars are fixed. Okay. Now that day, now in the previous chart, we saw that if there are 3 workers, they can make 30 cars. Okay. So basically, 3 workers employed, 30 cars are fixed. Right? Therefore, average labor cost is basically 600 divided by 30 cars. Okay, that means 20 rupees. Right? So if you have got that right, congratulations. Now let's give a round of applause. Right? Good. Now your next question of the day. Can we do this? Explain the behavior of total product, marginal product, and the average product curves in short run. Can we do this? Yes, we can. 10 minutes. අද මිස් වැඩිපුර වෙලා දෙනවනේ. Do it now. Now people, අනිත් කට්ටිය attempt to this question, explain the behavior of total product and marginal product and the average production curves. Okay. Veera Singha. Okay. Here. මෙතන මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ හොඳට කියවන්න පුතේ. මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ කියවනකොට ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා this chart gives you the average production of one of the number of workers available. Okay, so here three workers are වැඩ කරනවා නම් here it says sorry, not here, this one. Here it says if there are three workers working, the total production is 30. Okay, total production is 30. Okay, so here as you can see, if you can see 3 is here and the total production is 30, right? So here 3 workers costs the firm 3 times, right? 3 workers වැඩ කරනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට රුපියල් 200යි දවසට ගෙවන්න, right? So 3 workers into 200, that means total cost is 600. Okay, and total labor cost is going to be 600, right? So we are to determine the average labor cost per car. Okay, average labor cost per car. Therefore 600 total යන්නේ 3 workers ලා ඉන්නවා නම් 30 cars තමයි වැඩිපුරම හදාන්නේ. The total production is 30 cars. And then how you determine the labor cost per car is basically 600 divided by 30. Right? Hope that is clear. It's very clear. It's common sense. Yeah. Yes. Sorry that I referred to the average price, average production. It's the total production. විජේසේකර පුතේ ඔයාගේ TP එක පොඩ්ඩක් chart එක curve එක ටිකක් වැරදි. Okay, it is once it reaches to the maximum amount it is declining. Okay, as of what I can see from your chart ඒක තව උඩට යනවා. Okay, once it reaches to the maximum amount it decreases. Okay, so let's just keep in mind that and draw it. Yeah. Right, your time is up. Let's see. Okay, now stop writing and listen to this very carefully. Okay, here, this is going to be your answer. Now your question is explain the behavior of total product, marginal product and the average product curves in short run. Okay, so you will have to explain the behavior of these different products. Okay, so here is the best definition that you could give, right? As you can see now in the very first curve it is the total product curve, and here you have the marginal product and the average product. Okay, so in the very first total product, if we are to take total product, the behavior of total product, there are different stages, right? First stage, second stage and third stage, right? So in the first stage it is increasing, right? So at the beginning TP is rising at an increasing rate. It is rising at an increasing rate. And then TP is rising at a decreasing rate from A to C. Here, if you can see, right? So here, as you can see, අපි A බිඳුවේ ඉඳලා A වෙනකන් ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒක ටක් ගාලා උඩට ගිහිලා තියෙනවා. But මේ යන A ඉඳලා C වෙනකන් යන එක it is a bit low. So it is increasing in a decreasing rate. Okay? අඩු වේගයකින් වැඩි වෙනවා. Right? So TP is maximized when it comes to C. C may area එකට එනකොට TP එක maximize වෙනවා. C කියලා කියන්නේ where marginal production is going to be negative. Marginal production එක negative වෙනකොට total production එක maximum value එක reach කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? And TP will fall after it reached the maximum point. Right? So once TP is reached to the maximum point, it is decreasing. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, if we are to talk about marginal production's behavior, MP is maximized at A. MP එකේ maximum point එක තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න A value එකත් එක්ක. Right? Once TP is starting to increase in a decreasing rate, MP is, that is where MP touches the maximum point. MP එක marginal production එක වැඩිපුරම තියෙන තැන තමයි TP එක increase වෙන්න පටන් ගන්න decreasing rate එකකට. Okay? And it becomes zero when TP is maximized. Here, as I told you, it is zero when TP is maximized. Stage C, right? Not stage C, point C, right? And when TP is decreasing, MP is negative. Now, once it reaches to the maximum point and once it is decreasing, then MP is getting the negative values, right? So that is the behavior of MP, right? Average production, AP is maximized when AP equals MP, right? So AP එකයි MP එකයි intersect වෙන තැන තමයි අපි what? AP is maximum rate එක ගන්න. Right? So here is, if you can see, AP and MP is intersecting and over there is the AP maximum value. Right? And below AP reached to the maximum point, MP is greater than AP. Okay? Before, sorry, that's not below, it should be before. Before AP reaches to the maximum point, here AP එක maximum point එක reach කරනකොට හැමතිස්සෙම MP is greater than AP. MP values are greater than AP, right? But once AP has reached to the maximum point, AP is going to be greater than MP. Okay, AP MP පටලව ගන්න එපා. AP කියලා කියන්නේ average production, MP කියලා කියන්නේ marginal production. Okay, so these are the behaviors, right? If you have explained all these points in your answer, that means you will get all the points. If not, then you will lose marks. Okay, so in your answer I didn't see everything is explained very clearly, but here if you have explained everything like this, then you will get all points. Okay, any questions? Is it clear? Is it clear? Very clear? Product in the now, this explanation is very clear, Pute. Harida? So what you have to do, you may not understand this, but take some time, go through this, okay, and try to understand. Okay, self study එකක් පොඩ්ඩක් කරලා බලන්න. ඉන්න ගමන් කියවලා බලන්න මොනවද මේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Right? මේ මොකද්ද මේ මට මිස් කියපු එකක්වත් තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. I have to do some self study. Yes? So do something. Right? So that's that. Hope that is clear. Here, explain. Next question, the very last question of the day. Do it right. Explain the law of diminishing marginal returns. 10 minutes. Okay, explain the law of diminishing marginal returns. Right, you will have until 4:50 to explain. Right, your time is up, and I see a lot of similar definitions without even a single word changed. Okay, so where are you copying these things from? Huh? Am I supposed to say that it is very smart? You guys are very smart. Yes, am I supposed to say that? No, you guys are very stupid. Okay, if you write the same thing in your examination paper, it will caught as plagiarism and you will end up getting a zero. Okay, so who are you trying to fool? Me or you? Okay, you will have to think about that. Right? Okay, I see the exact answers, exact sentences without even a single word changed. Okay, so yeah, if you write the same thing in your, again I'm telling you, again and again I'm telling you this, if you write the same thing in your exam paper, it will caught as plagiarism. මෙහෙම ලස්සන්ට highlight කරලා පෙන්නනවා ඔක්කොම ටික, and we will give you 0 marks. Okay, do you want to get 0 marks or do you need marks? Think about that. Okay, now here the law of diminishing marginal returns, right? Yes, law of diminishing marginal returns. Since it is a law, you can write the same thing but not as same as it is. Okay, is එකයි the එකයි එකයි ඒ විදිහටම තියෙන විදියක් නෑනේ. Okay, right? You are not humans if you are something like that, if you're writing something like that. Okay, so the law states that MP, marginal production of variable inputs, will decline as the proportion of the variable input is increased with the constant level of fixed inputs, right? As you can see here now, here in this chart, as you can see, in the stage 1, okay, after stage 1 it is decreasing. So here this decreasing or diminishing marginal returns is what we refer from the stage after 2, after 1, which means 2 and 3. Okay, so once the law of diminishing a marginal return states that marginal production of variable inputs will decline as the proportion of the variable input is increased with the constant level of fixed inputs, right? So this is your law and you will have to keep that in mind. We use other names also to refer this law, right? The law diminishing returns, one of the other names, and the law of proportion of variable resources, one of some other names. Okay, so if someone asks you explain the law of diminishing returns or explain the law of proportions of variable resources, you will have to write the same definition. Okay, right, so that's it. Today's lesson is done. If you have any questions, you can raise at this moment. If not, thank you very much for attending to my tutorial today. Hope that is very clear and beautiful. Yes, and yeah, stay safe, and yeah, tea time now, end of the lectures. You will have 2 days of vacation tomorrow and day after. Not for the bridging course people, unfortunately. But yeah, stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Any questions, you are welcome to ask. You are welcome. Okay, students, I am going to end the meeting now. Hope you don't have any questions.